when you talked about vision, you talked about the importance of or the challenge of vision for leadership. And I think you particularly were quite vulnerable in the way that you addressed, and you maybe even said this earlier in the episode, that when you step into these leadership positions, when you started that first non-DAO, you weren't even sure if you wanted to be the leader, maybe. And I think that that is one of the biggest challenges that leaders have, particularly in DAOs where you can be given leadership quite quickly. So I'm just curious, how do you battle with that, or how have you seen other DAO leaders battle with staying true to a vision, even when you yourself maybe are a little bit uneasy or unsure, because we all have those moments of doubt.
Even when your token goes down 70% in like a couple months in your
Right?
network.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think you're asking the like most fundamental question of both leadership, but then I think also within the DAO space too, within Web3. And yeah. So the word that was coming up for me when you were asking that question is conviction. And I think I said this word earlier too, but I'm thinking, I'm just realizing more and more just like the power of conviction, both for myself, but then also within my team members and also within other leadership, that if I, if I see someone have conviction and they can communicate to me why that conviction matters, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. Let's try this on, like F around and find out, like let's see what happens. And like let's yeah, like LFG. And but and I think there's a version of that can be experienced as like flippant. But I think having conviction and being able to communicate why that matters is not flippant. Like it takes real, like it takes real intentionality, and you can tell when someone doesn't have conviction. The way that just again thinking about branding and marketing, like you can tell when a brand is like faking it. Like you can tell when someone actually has conviction. And so I think about the way in which we find attachment to people and the way in which we find our partners. And like, there's a sense of like, you don't know actually how this is going to end. Right. But there is this like sense of shared conviction, this like sense of shared vision that there's something here, and we like are building toward it. There's chemistry around this thing. Like, let's see where this goes. And another word too that I think has been critical for us at Seed Club, and I also see as being critical for creating enduring DAOs or internet native communities or internet native organizations, is strategy. And you can have this sort of endpoint in mind, and I feel like sometimes that endpoint is very clear, that vision is very clear. It's like high contrast, the clarity is there, and then sometimes it just like disappears. I don't know if you ever experienced that, but that happens to me all the time. Maybe I shouldn't say that on a podcast, but no, but like it just, I feel like it,
I don't know where we're going.
Yeah, literally, like I'm like, oh, it's just, you wake up and you just like, you have this utter clarity, and you like, okay, this is the plan. I see where we have to go. And then like minutes later, you're like, oh, it's gone. Like, okay, like check in with me in a couple hours. But I think that the role of strategy is really critical there, because that's something that you can establish when you have that sense of clarity. And that's something that can be both evergreen, but also resilient, that you can like, you can return to your strategy in those moments of when you have a lack of clarity, and that strategy was established when that vision felt really clear. And then when you regain the sense of clarity on that vision, or when you have a new insight that maybe complicates that vision, you can then like within the resilience of your strategy, like adjust or maybe even refine or go deeper on certain things. Yeah. So I think those two things, like conviction and strategy, just like continually come up for me within that.